We're back after the Christmas break and we're feeling a little softer around the middle and certainly very well rested. And I tell you, it's a bit of a shock to the system to be back at the desk today, but hey ho, that's how it goes. And it is 2026. Happy New Year. I'm really happy to carry on this season of the podcast. And for the final 2 episodes, yes, we've only got 2 left. I'm already gutted, but also secretly relieved because it takes a lot of work to do something like this. But we've got 2 more to go and then we will be taking a short break. But we will be back because we're already recording for season 11. But this week we're joined by Joy Nazzari, founder of DNCO. 20 years strong, London and New York, the studio that connects people to places. I mean, I've been in touch with Joy for probably 16 years that I've been doing Creative Boom, and she's always been so lovely and kind to our platform and just always a friendly voice in the industry. So I was really excited to get into the origin story of DNCO. 2 co-founders, 1 napkin, a promise to stay picky and do great work, how no became a growth strategy, why bias for action and sharp critical thinking beat shiny decks every single time. We talk belonging, cities, wayfinding, a little software, and a very big new brief to rebrand a US state. Joy is frank about leadership, profit in a post-pandemic world, letting a co-founder go, but with love, and being an older woman in the room and not shrinking. That's something I can definitely relate to. It's honest, practical, properly energizing, a fabulous way to start the new year. This season of the Creative Boom podcast is proudly sponsored by James Cropper, the last mill standing in Britain for premium coloured paper. Its new colour source range puts designers first, giving you direct access to 50 stunning shades in a range of weights and textures straight from the mill. Incredible colour, crafted in the Lake District and delivered straight to your door. Discover the paper that brings your ideas to life via paperandpackaging.jamescropper.com. Well, I'm here. I'm back with another episode of the Creative Boom podcast. And this time we're joined by the lovely Joy Nazzari of DNCO. Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
I feel like you have been with Creative Boom the entire 16, 17 years that we've been going.
I feel like I have a parasocial relationship with you, Katie. Like, you're a friend I've been out with. We've been clubbing. I feel like I've been to Glasgow with you. And this is the first time we've actually properly had a face-to-face-ish conversation, which is remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, like, we've got to look out for each other, haven't we? It's tough out there, especially for us women, not to mention our sex, but you know.
I know, we're there already. It doesn't take long for us. No, it's great. It's been really fun watching your rise and rise and rise. And I have to commend you, especially on taking on video, because it's been this incredible transformation for you. It's been wonderful.
I know. Well, that was a year of pain. So and menopause. And I just don't care. I'm like, let's go for it.
Let's go for it. I love that. Oh, that's great. We're not hearing enough about menopause in the design world, actually. I think let's bring that up. That's really good.
Yeah, it's like a couple of years ago, a good friend of mine, when I was like saying, monthly curse and all that, she was like, just call it your period. It's like completely normal. There's nothing to be ashamed of.
It's a lot more. It's amazing that women now are talking about it in front of men, and it's like no big deal. It's an amazing change that's happened. Normalizing.
Oh, it's great. It's like brilliant. And I hang around with lots of younger women, so they keep me fresh and tell me off if I'm being, too Gen X.
I can't believe you're Gen X. I feel like you're younger.
Well, I'm a Zennial. I'm on the cusp.
Okay, good. A Zennial. I love that. I haven't heard that.
Yeah. We're the last generation to grow up with analog and then move into a world that was digital. So when did you get your first mobile phone?
I was just going to ask you that. I got mine in university. I was about 20. I was 18, 19, I think, actually.
Yeah, same. And It was a Nokia 3310.
Oh, mine was some ghastly American flip phone thing. It was silver. It was really gross. Yeah.
I bet you thought the flip was clever, though. I bet you liked that.
I thought it was cool that I had one in the first place. Couldn't call anyone. No one else had one.
Well, we grew up with the movies, didn't we? In sort of California with all the rich kids, and they would have those amazing ones in the car in the soft tops.
Oh, car phone with the big thick wire. Oh, I had a lot of friends that had a car phone. Yeah, so definitely I observed that, but not in my own car growing up. That was definitely like peers in school.
So 20 years of DNCO, it's probably been a whirlwind of adventure, ups and downs, highs and lows. You've survived 20 years. That's epic. Why did you start it in the first place, Joy?
I mean, it was like a teenage angst rebellion, really, which is, I look back and I think that's so silly. I do think it was really silly, but it was Ben Dale and I who co-founded DNCO. So he's the D, I'm the N. We just sort of said, let's do this ourselves, like screw the boss. And that's kind of where it started. We actually tried to buy the company out because we were part of a group and it was very small. And we had a few beers and said, I think we can actually just do this ourselves. What are we buying here? We're buying ourselves out of indentured servitude. Let's not do that. Let's just go and set up. So we did that. And I look back and think, gosh, I don't know what sort of appetite for risk I must have had at the time that was okay, just to go unemployed basically immediately and to start. We didn't even have clients, so it was a big jump, but felt easy. So it was angst, teenage rebellion kind of vibes.
I love that.
Age 30-ish. Yeah, exactly. In fact, I was 30.
I think part of it, you don't actually realize how much is going to be involved. So you don't really know of the loss or the risk at that stage. So you've got more bravado and courage.
I think when you don't have anything to lose as well, it does help. It's like, well, if we fall, we fall on our asses from 1 foot high. So it's we can always go back and get a job somewhere. I think that was the vibe. Yeah. I really appreciated, though, that for Ben, it was a much bigger risk. So he had a partner and two kids. And it was really meaningful that he was saying, actually, I'll give up PAYE and I'll start my own gig. But it was good. And it worked out for us, I think, both. So it was nice.
Good. And what did you hope to set out to achieve? Was there kind of like a founding principle that you've always stuck by?
That's a great question. We didn't really think that much, but we did over beers have, I'm pretty sure at some point, I'm hoping I will find it, but it was the sort of thing you hear people talk about and it's like, that didn't really happen, did it? But we actually did. We were in a pub and we did write on a napkin 3 sort of things that we were keen. I don't actually remember what all 3 were, but I know one was Ben never wanted to be more than 25 people. So that was for him. It was like, he never wanted to be more than 15 people. So we had this, like, let's stay small and just keep it sane. And that was important to him. I really didn't want to do shit work. So we always said, like, quality over quantity. Let's start out by saying no to stuff that sucks and just say yes to things that we like and that we think are interesting. Yeah. And that helped. I mean, we early on, some of our old clients were like, oh, you're just starting out, you'll be starving. Like, we want to throw our crappy stuff at you. And we were able to say, that's like not the kind of project that we want to take on. And it wasn't arrogance. It was just, we've got very low, we can do very low turnover. It's sort of fine. So let's take some nice projects and then build on nice projects as opposed to do crappy, shitty work that then people go, throw all their crappy, shitty stuff at them. So that turned out to be more clever than I think we realized at the time. Saying no is good.
Yeah, gotcha. And that's a new thing, isn't it? 2025, everyone's saying no is a power word. And it's a hard word to say when money's involved, but I love that. And have you stuck by that?
Yeah, I think so. And actually, in certain occasions, I think sometimes we've not said no and we should have, and we kind of knew in the pit of our stomach we should have said no, and we didn't say no, and then we I should have said no to this one. But occasionally we've said no and people have said, I get it, and that's fine. And they've come back with bigger jobs and said, how about this? You can't say no to this job. And then they really, really want and bring you the right kind of work. And it's like, we'd love to work on that with you. So I think it's important to know what fits into a yes and a no, and having some, I suppose, measures that you would assess against. And there are different measures, and different people have different measures on what they think is important. And it's useful to do that exercise.
And how many are there of you now?
33, I think we are just now. Yeah. And then with freelancers in the room, it sort of goes up and down. So there was a point, I think when we were about 25, Ben came to me and said, I'd never wanted to be more than 15 people, and we're 25. And that's when he said, I think in about a year, I want to go and be a photographer. And so that was a big moment. I had such clarity in that moment. DNCO was going to continue. We were going to probably continue growing. And I never wanted to fall out with Ben. He's a very close friend, and he's a really meaningful, he hitched his wagon to me and me to him. And having someone who's done that and that level of trust that it takes is not someone you want to ever fall out with. So I love when I tell people, Ben doesn't work here anymore. We bought him out, and people go, "Ooh, what's the story there?" And I'm always like, there isn't a drama there. It's actually I think really well. I think we should be the poster child for that. People should be allowed to leave as founders, and that's okay. And that you should celebrate the contribution they had and celebrate the career that they might have going forward. Actually, he's on the payroll right now, funnily enough, as an architectural photographer. I mean, the payroll, he's not on the payroll. That's an American expression. He's currently working with us as a partner, valued partner, on a couple of projects.
Great.
And that relationship continues, which is special.
That's brilliant. That's great that you listened to his heart and went and did something else. And what about you? What keeps you at DNCO?
Oof, I think lots of things. So firstly, we are just not the same business today than we were 20 years ago. And I think lots of different chapters along the way, we've changed into lots of different types of work. And if we hadn't really done that journey, maybe I'd be a bit bored, but it's still very exciting. And I think there's an interesting thing to observe there. With humility, I can say that where we started out was basically branding and marketing office real estate. That was our big start. And in fact, it was two. We did a chalet brand in Switzerland and an office building. Like those were our literal two first projects through the door. And so pretty humble start, but we became known really for doing great work for commercial office buildings. And it was high value stuff for us, and it was high value stuff to the clients, and it had an impact. So kind of a pretty humble beginning. But what we did was use expertise in those areas to build out into other and new areas. So offices became then residential, offices and residential then became mixed use becomes neighborhoods become cities. And really, to give a piece of news, which will be okay to talk about when this podcast is live, we've actually just won a US state. So we will be branding a US state for a tourism brand, which will be new territory. So there's a lot to be excited about.
Yes.
Besides that sort of trajectory of what the word space means to us, we are doing wayfinding. We have a little software company. So I suppose the thing that keeps me here is I can't help myself in these new little investigations we're doing. I do like to stay within a lane. I personally, and I know not everyone likes that, and I think designers sometimes get, they have their time at DNCO and then they want to move on because they want to go and do a record label or a perfume brand or whatever it is. But for us, there is a benefit to being a real expert and specialist in this idea of connecting people to places. So I love that expertise that we've built and continue to build. We are learning a lot. Goodness me, what do I know about Vermont besides Bernie Sanders and leaves? There's a lot to learn. And running a tourism brand, these are big new challenges. So that's
it. Is it Vermont?
Sorry, did I say that out loud? I did.
Yeah.
You did. Yes, it's Vermont.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's an exciting project.
Yeah, I just immediately think of autumn leaves.
I know. Well, I think, not giving too much away, I think that's the challenge, right? Is how do we get people to think about Vermont outside of the fall, the autumn, the fall, as the Americans call it? You go to Vermont to enjoy as a tourist, as a visitor, to enjoy the falling of the leaves, the changing of the leaves. It's an incredible phenomenon. But golly, there's a lot more to do in Vermont than just go and check out the trees. So we're going to be digging into that. It's fun.
Amazing. Are you going to go and do a sort of a trip over there? And
Oh, yes, you bet. So I think that's the interesting challenge with city brands and, well, anything with the government, I would say generally, city brands, place brands, and now state brands, is it's 90% engagement. You really have to be on the ground. You really have to speak to people. There's a huge amount of investment that I think you don't necessarily get in other types of projects. But you have to do that collaboratively. You have to do that co-creatively. And we're learning more and more about these challenges. You have to spend time on the ground.
Can I come?
Can I go? I don't think I'm allowed. I think the our New York studio and a few of the UK team are going to be going. I'm not sure I'm allowed, Katie. You and I can, we can go out to lunch and observe from afar together.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, what a shame. I was looking forward to pies and hitting the road and
yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
Well. Okay, so it's been a really nice journey for you. When you look back on the 20 years, what stands out to you that's been the most challenging aspect?
Oh, so I think, gosh, as a leader, the difficult stuff always floats up. So I would say that is, you have to be battle ready for that. You have to love the crunchy things. Managing people, crunchy. Yeah, the crunchy times, the stuff where it's like, oh, this is hard. Clients, things happen, pandemics, all these things. People look to you and they're like, what's the answer here? So I would say that's the job, is you're going to get hit with things that are there's no playbook for, and you've got to write the playbook while whatever the expression is, build the plane while it's in the air already.
Yeah.
And so from a challenges perspective, I would say, I really feel like I don't know, of course we had challenges, but I don't have memorable ones. There are perhaps few and far between in the first 15 years. Then the pandemic hit. We were 15 when the pandemic hit. And that in and of itself, we kind of kept going, but it has created probably the most fundamental shift in the whole time. And we're still feeling that now. Yeah. And I think that would be, and this is hard to say because people hate it. They hate this conversation. But we had the same turnover throughout the pandemic. Like, we did pretty well, actually, but we had no profit. And the reason for that is we needed more people to be able to deliver the same amount of work because we were working from home, and productivity just tanked. So it's an ugly conversation, but it's something I think that the world will look back and say, this is what happened, and we have the data to really prove it. I have the anecdotal data. We used to just be much more profitable, and we're coming back to that now. But I'm also like, well, we're more in the studio now. So I really feel that fundamental shift. It was great. The first 15 years were awesome. I loved the first 15 years. I'm not going to say the last 5 years I didn't love. I loved the last 5 years. We have fundamentally shifted up as a business. But there's something that's happened in how we work, which has been hard. It's been a real juggle. No one knows the right answer to that. Well, people think they know the right answer. The right answer probably isn't one or the other. It's always gray areas. But I would say that's been a challenge that's happened that directly affects the numbers. People want, bigger salaries, but productivity is lower, so you have to hire more people. So somehow the maths aren't mathing. And no one wants to hang around to listen to the maths. They just, and obviously budgets are being hit. So just the economics of running a business in the last 5 years has probably been the biggest challenge. That's the answer.
Yeah. You're running a business. And I always think people are better in the same room to be effective. I can see it.
Yeah. And the really simple way to look at it is, and I think there's some basic things you learn from other people just through osmosis, sitting next to them, seeing what they're up to, hearing how they talk. So all of that is I think documented, but just the maths. This is what I'm really interested in. You and I, let's say we want to have a meeting in person. If you work from home a couple of days, I work from home a couple of other days of the week, and they're different. We have one day. So 20% of what we might have normally, not usually, before pandemic might have had available to us. Suddenly we have 1 day per week available to us. And so you and I are then scheduling a meeting in person that is 8 weeks away. And I'm just having conversations with people saying, why are we having a meeting in 8 weeks? Like, just come over now. And I actually sometimes will say, like, can I just come over now and we'll talk about it? This meeting in 8 weeks thing is stupid. So with clients and with our team, this just diarizing time face-to-face to bond as human beings, which we cannot digital away that piece. That math sucks for us. So things slow down, and pace is the biggest drag in my view on bottom line. So if you can't do things at a good pace, then you're dragging the profitability of a project down. So both between juggling time with clients and then juggling time as a studio, finding, a time for 10 people to get together for a stand-up. Whereas we used to just circle the wagon. Sorry, that's really American. Circle the wagons. We should just turn our chairs physically around and say, hey, Katie, like, have a look at this. What do you think? Is it good? No. Oh, move that there. Didn't have to have a meeting. It just happened organically.
Yeah, it's a shame. Shame how it's changed. But there's, like you say, there's lots of positives to come out of it as well. And stop apologizing for the Americanisms. I love them.
I know. I don't know why. I've done that twice. I don't normally do that. And I definitely see the positives. So I'm picking my son up at 4:30 from school today, right? That's on Friday. I never did that before. I think the parents have really seen a huge benefit from the flexibility. And not just parents as well. And lots of people suddenly, a yoga class at 5 p.m. has opened up for someone, and they come back and maybe they do an extra hour or something afterwards in a different headspace. That's all great stuff. I'm a huge buyer of that. But we have to accept that there is probably an impact somewhere. And then when we cry about the economy being down, we don't realize that all these things actually add up, right?
And I suppose if anyone really is pushing him back against that, they've got to ask themselves, is their job going to be there in 6 months' time anyway? So what do they want? Do they want to see the benefit of the business that they work at, or do they want to work in their pajamas every day of the week? I don't know. Maybe that's a little bit controversial of me to say.
No, it is. But also we should be saying it out loud more. I think we should be saying it out loud more. It's, for me, if I was young and in the beginning of my career, I would be in the studio as much as possible, and not to show face. It's not presenteeism. It's just not that. It is, I might be then sitting next to lunch to someone who I don't normally work with in the studio and learning from them somehow, or just observing something, seeing conversations, being able to have all of that access to people. You don't get that at home. You just don't get it.
You don't. And you don't build the same kind of relationships either.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I know before we started recording, I was saying to you, do you mind me asking you this? Because it's annoying because we're women and it comes up.
Yeah.
But I am curious because I see in you a kindred spirit. I know that you've been in this game a long, long time. And I want to ask you, Joy Nazzari, have you ever felt that you are held back because you're a woman?
Okay.
All right, let's stretch
out for this one. I mean, just no is the answer. Firstly, I don't know what it is. I haven't felt burdened by being a woman at any point, and I'm not sure if this is right, but it might have helped in certain situations just by being a bit different. I mean, I'm different in a lot of ways. You haven't seen me in person, so you'll have a shock when we finally do see each other in person. But I'm over 6 feet tall. I'm American. I'm a woman, I'm not a designer. Like there's almost isn't a room where I'm fitting in with everybody. And in a way that not fitting in, I think, has sometimes been a benefit. So I've never had the sensation of, there've been some situations where I'm like, there's some good casual sexism there. Nice, well done, guys. I grew up with older brothers, so I've always been very water off a duck's back in there and just prove my worth, and then people invite me into the room, and that's what really matters, is add value. And I personally believe the more you add value, the more it doesn't matter what your gender is. Just back yourself and back the work that you do, and people will see that, and that's the important thing. But so this is my new revelation. I've never felt this sort of the woman thing hasn't really been a thing, but I'm going into a new phase where I'm not just a woman, I'm an older woman. And I'm starting, and isn't that so now, and I don't know if this is self-consciousness. I don't think it is, but I'm observing things where I'm like, oh, because I'm an older woman. And, it took, and some people who, if they do listen to this, they'll know it's them. So I apologize to them already. But I've been okay boomered in the studio a couple of times, which really, honestly, that really pissed me off.
That is so rude.
That is really rude. And I don't mind my thinking being called out, but it's like, oh God, like that hurts. The really funny thing about that, though, by the way, is I think millennials now are being okay boomered by Gen Z. And I'm loving that secretly, because if you've been okay boomered by a millennial, you want to see them have their comeuppance, frankly. But anyway, that all aside, the generational shit sucks. Like, don't do that to people.
Yeah, it's ageist.
It's ageist. So, but now being an older woman is that I'm starting to have some observations about that, which is interesting. The one I have that I'm chewing on, I haven't come to the bottom of it. Oh, I should say, incidentally, my mom left our industry at my exact age. And she left because she said creatives stopped listening to her.
That is just disappointing.
She's 82 now. And she is sharp as oh my goodness me, this woman is incredible. But
where does she live?
She lives in the US. She's currently in Las Vegas with two of my nephews. She literally took them out to a concert last night. She's 82. She's full of beans. She's amazing. But she works in our industry. She's great. And that was her statement. Her statement was, I had to leave when creatives, they no longer took me seriously. And she said it was an age thing. So I always had that in the back of my head. I don't think it's affected me, but I've connected the dots now, like, oh, I'm that age now. And I have this other observation. I have no idea what it means yet, so you can help me interpret this. But I have two sons, two boys, teenager and preteen. And I have noticed anecdotally that they take me more seriously when I'm dressed for work, when I'm wearing makeup. And they take me less seriously when I'm in my, like weekend garb and no makeup. And I noticed it so much that I've actually started clocking and almost testing, not like, it sounds a bit creepy, but I'm interested just generically, like, what does this mean? That they actually go, that's an interesting idea, Mommy, I'm going to try that if I'm wearing makeup. So I have this funny thing about, am I just getting into like old hag mode where on the Sunday morning, they just like, I don't know who you are, lady, but I'm not listening to you. But if you dress nicely and you're wearing makeup, it's like, oh, that's a good idea, Mommy. So there's this weird correlation. I hope they never listen to this podcast because they will be mortified. They will hate that.
But maybe it's your persona. Maybe you change a little bit. Maybe your body language changes a little bit. Maybe it's like a kind of hat that you put on.
Maybe. I mean, that's entirely possible. I genuinely believe you do that, right? So I have, over the years, if I have a really mega pitch coming, I like to buy a dress to go to that, because you just put on a thing and you're like, this is the me that I'm putting forward today. I'm a big believer in having a thought about who's the person I need to put on, not act, but you've got versions of yourself. Am I going in being bombastic joy, or am I going in being measured, intelligent joy? And I think these are levers percentage wise, not like you can't do major personality shifts, like go in and be you, but what bit of you are you projecting forward?
I just want to be cool.
I just want to be cool. I know. Yeah, I've given that up a long time ago.
Oh, Katie. Come on.
No, seriously.
How tall are you?
6'1".
So I'm 6 foot.
Oh, okay. Fellow tall girl.
How big are your feet?
I'm an 8.
Yeah. Oh, you lucky thing. I'm a 9.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm probably more comfortable in a 9.
Yeah.
Did you read that Celine Dion, I don't know where I read this, but Celine Dion apparently throughout the years, whenever she bought shoes, they would say, what size is your foot? She'd say, no, these are the shoes I'm buying. Just tell me what you have available. And whether it's too big or too small, I don't care. I'm just going to buy them. And I sort of thought, God, your feet must be screwed.
Yes.
Anyway.
Maybe it was like, an age thing. Maybe it's rude to ask somebody's shoe size.
Oh, I see.
I apologize.
No, I don't mind. Yeah,
it's a tall girl
If they
thing.
were any smaller, I would fall over, right? Anyway.
Well, my mum's got size 6 feet, the lucky thing.
Oh.
I want to know how she stays balanced,
Is she as tall as you?
Taller. Well, she was. I think she's shrunk a little. Sorry, Mum. But she's fabulous. She was a nurse. She was a primary school teacher, so she was running after children her whole career. So she's fit as a fiddle, no problems with her health, no physical ailments. She's just amazing. I mean, if I could go back and choose a career, it would be working with children, I think.
No, lovely. No,
Yeah.
we don't want to lose you.
Oh, no. I'm fully embedded now in the creative industries. You can't get rid of me.
No, we can't.
It's interesting to hear your perspective, especially, you just assume all women have the same experience. I'm the same as you in that I've never really noticed that I'm a woman. It's never really been a defining feature. I obviously am a woman, but I just, what's the big deal? I'm Katie and I'm doing this thing, and this is the work defines me and how I show up. My gender, my sex is really just a kind of feature. Does it really have to be a big deal?
Well, and actually, more importantly, maybe from a design perspective, it's like it is a big deal that I'm in the room, because the number of times there are things where I'm like, you guys are forgetting that there's like the other half of the population, which so one silly example is definitely there was definitely a logo option on screen where it was like an O and a B, and I burst out laughing, and I just said to guys, you cannot do that with all the circularness, because basically you've just replicated a tampon brand. And I'm not saying just for like period relations, but there are things where it's like if you have to see the other perspective.
Yeah.
And so I think it's hugely important, diversity from that perspective. Matthew Syed's book, Rebel Ideas, if you haven't read it, it's totally amazing. Gives plenty of proof on why you need to have different people from different backgrounds and data points, and all of that in the room is additive for problem solving. And that's ultimately what we do in the creative industries, is problem solve, well, in my view, using creativity. So all for that. We belong in the room is my point.
We do belong in the room. Yeah, we do. And sometimes it feels like we don't belong in the room. I've seen a lot of sexism over the years, particularly with very successful female graphic designers and creative founders. There's like a treatment sometimes that you just wouldn't see a man getting, the same. And the sort of insinuations of how they got there, these brilliant, formidable women. I can't believe it's still happening in 2025.
I can't either. I mean, the notion that a woman would sleep her way to the top is laughable. Well, apparently no one's having sex these days anyway. Like that's the other statistic to bring in.
Oh,
right?
really?
So, yeah, but that's what they say about the younger generations, right? They're not drinking, they're not smoking, they're not having sex.
What are they doing?
I don't know. Watching their TikTok reels. That look, all of that. I'm just reporting. What people are saying.
I love
it.
I
think it's bollocks, obviously, but
yes.
But so the point is, though, I think there is that, and I hope we can iron that out. I mean, do we all need to come out and say I didn't sleep my way to the top?
I know, right? I love that you've got all these kind of facts. To me, you sound like somebody who loves a good, like a bit of evidence and maybe some survey results.
Oh, I do. Well, I read a lot. I try to read a lot, and also I like to read both sides. I don't think I don't think people do that enough.
I agree.
I can't do the Daily Mail, to be honest, but I will read more right of center newspapers because I'm a Guardian reader, like I'm an out and out Guardian reader. But I think if you don't understand some of the other perspective, then you can't actually argue against it. So get knowledgeable and right now politics is such a shit show that who knows what everyone's thinking. Everyone's all over the place. So if you're not reading both sides, I think it's not healthy. So data, I love data.
Yeah, me too. I completely agree. And I think that's why I subscribe to various different newspapers as well. I think that comes from the journalist background. We always used to go to the newsroom and there'd be all the newspapers from the Sun and the Mirror right through to the Telegraph and the Guardian. So you would sort of see a broad kind of view of what was being observed and reported. And I've always carried that with me. And I feel very grateful for that because I can't remember where I read it, but it was somewhere that I read. It was so smart. It just said the minute you start to be really sort of overconfident with your opinion on anything, that's when you should start reading the opposing view and keep an open mind, because you can go into very dangerous territory, I think, if you go down one wormhole and are not open to other ideas around that subject.
Yeah, I would agree. Inputs are important. I would agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Nuanced debate as well. I hate being shut down when I bring, certain topics up and people are like, no, this is the right. I actually did turn around to a group of people once on a night out and I said, can anybody tell me the right opinion on everything? Just so I'm in the clear.
Let's get that out of the way. Yeah. Exactly.
I know.
Well, that's the interesting deplatforming debate, right? I don't know where I sit on it, honestly, because I think there is, when you get to hate speech, it's sort of like you got to probably shut that down. But I don't think it's right to shut debate down. So,
no.
And the tenet of free speech is hugely important. So it's like, you can't just say, free speech is important, but only if I agree with you. So
yeah, exactly.
Debate is really, it's never been more important. Surely it's never been more important.
Well, look at where we are. And the thing is, I think we have to accept that we will be offended, and that just comes part and parcel of having a free society, a free democracy and, free speech, which weirdly if you say free speech now, it's almost like, you're far right. It's insane.
Yeah, I know that is very odd. That's some sort of trick that's happened there, right?
Yeah. Well, we're classic liberals, aren't we? And that is not what we deemed or grew up to be far right. Quite the contrary.
No, exactly. I'm reading Abundance right now. So I don't know if you've heard about this book, but it's quite an interesting take on basically looking at Democrats and what their approach and what their failures have been, and actually basically it's not saying this is my own interpretation, but it's basically saying this is where we've gone wrong as Democrats. This is how we're going to fix it in order to have a great world where we're all doing all right. Thanks. Mm-hmm. And it's really interesting because it actually out loud as it's got a liberal bias, obviously, and it's trying to say, we're sucking at being liberals. Like, let's do being liberals better. And it's, I think, a really useful book. I'm only a bit through it, but it's a really useful book to be able to say and assess, perhaps, hey, we haven't done things super brilliantly. Well, let's be okay with we haven't done great. The sort of democratic philosophy hasn't worked in certain areas. How do we do it better? So I think this whole team sport of, we're best is unhealthy. We're getting it on both sides. And in the US, unfortunately, it feels entirely impossible right now. It's like baseball clubs. You're either on one club or the other, and you're one team or the other. And never could you actually say, oh, I kind of like that policy that they're doing there. We're oddly seeing a huge shift here all over the map. I mean, my goodness, of politics. So it's more debate needed.
Debate, definitely. And I think as it's all gone like that, very much over the last, since 2011, is it? When was the Twitter like button? When did that come in?
Yeah.
I think the Jonathan Haidt puts all of this madness down to that. But I think it'll come back to a sensible middle at some point. It has to. It surely.
I hope so.
Surely can't continue.
Can't get weirder, can it?
Yeah, I mean, let's just hope that the world comes back together and we all just live happily ever after. I mean, wishful thinking.
We've got to try.
This season of the Creative Bean podcast is sponsored by James Cropper, and there's exciting news for anyone working in design. Multiplicity is back. Foilco's much-loved creative event returns this February for the first time since 2019 to mark its 10-year anniversary. And this year, the exclusive paper sponsors are James Cropper and Winter & Company, supporting a night built for designers, illustrators, photographers and artists who want fresh inspiration and real connection. The lineup is outstanding. Uncommon will take the stage with Global Chief Design Officer Lisa Smith and founder Niels Leonard. You'll also hear from Porter Rocker with Design Director Joseph Liebus, plus Emma Thomas and Kirsty Carter from A Practice for Everyday Life. And Creative Review's Editor-in-Chief Eliza Williams will host the evening. Multiplicity lands on the 5th of February at the Crypt on the Green in Clerkenwell. Full announcements are coming soon. And a huge thanks to James Cropper for championing the creative community and for creating the papers that help bring our ideas to life. Now, what qualities do you most appreciate in your team? Because, you've grown this amazing team over 20 years, and obviously people have naturally come and gone, and it sounds like you're in a really strong place. You're taking on brilliant work. What do you appreciate? What makes, like, if I wanted to work at DNCO, what would you look for?
So I think the first thing, somehow, when we have freelancers come and work with us, they leave and they always go, God, this is a really nice place to work. So I think we try to be a nice group of humans, sort of as a first port of call. Of course, there is the key aspect, to get through the door, we want creative people, we want trustworthy people. There's a sort of entry fee, which is how creative, your portfolio, and generally, are you a stand-up human? But beyond that, I would say the things I have most valued in people would be probably a tie between two things. So one would be what I call bias for action. So that's just the people who are fully leaning forward. And, when there's a grenade going off or a nettle to grasp, my favorite British expression, probably. We don't have nettles in America.
Oh, right. Okay. You just poison ivy.
Oh, I mean, so much of that. I grew up covered in poison ivy. Yeah. So it's the leaning back that it's okay to not know how to do things, but most of us are in a fairly constant state of, there's no answer to this. Someone's got to figure it out. So yeah. I love people who have a natural bias towards, I think I've got an idea, or I'm going to jump on that, or give me 10 minutes, I'm going to think about it, or I thought about that yesterday already and I've sorted it out, is like the dream.
Gold.
So that is gold. Everyone, I think, in if my colleagues knows that if I go, and they go, Joy, like, we sorted that out yesterday, like, go away. That is, for me, that's the best moment. I love those moments. So bias for action for me, I'm like gold standard. People who are optimistically charging forward, going, I can sort that out. I freaking love that. And obviously it's a space where you can ask for help and things like that, but lean forward and dig in. And probably, if I could, this one's a bit harder. I don't know how you test for this, but the other thing I love is critical thinking. It's something I think we're seeing sometimes less, is when there's something in front of you and the client's brief, or the world today, what's going on. And for people to be able to say, like, we're charging forward on this thing, but I'm just having a little think about that. And I'm not sure it's appropriate because the client's goals are trying to do this, or just some it's cool design, but just critical thinking to say, someone, that I've thought that through and I'm just not sure. I'd love to see more of that happening, more of the connecting of the dots. So I would say, bias for action and critical thinking are like solid gold for me.
Love that. That'll be really encouraging for anyone who wanted to work at a brilliant agency such as yourself. I was doing it last night in the kitchen. I've got this lovely little side project I'm doing for Creative Boom, where I've got these beautiful posters printed on coloured paper, and they have little messages of joy. And I'm going to India on a little holiday with some friends and my husband. And I want to hold them up and film them in India in various places. Oh, and I was making a cup of tea yesterday afternoon, and I said to my husband, do you think that it's probably a little bit inappropriate? Like, if I'm holding up a coloured sheet of paper with optimistic messages, and I don't know, maybe the background around me isn't right. And he said, don't worry, we've got your back. We'll make sure there's no sort of religious spots, or, it's just appropriate. And I was like, okay, cool. And it's just little things like that, isn't it? It's when the gut kicks in and you think, yeah, I've got to check myself.
I want people to listen to their gut more and say out loud, or just allow for the gut moment thinking. Sometimes people just cruise through. I think that hearing the back of your brain is the stuff is there, but connecting those dots to what you're doing, it's really important.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And I suppose our guts always tell us when something is off, but it gets stronger the more pain and suffering and, age that we go through.
Well, and hopefully the gut doesn't turn into the thing that's hitting you in the face too late. You got to listen early.
Do you think at our age we've kind of, do you feel really kind of, because we'll have gone through our highs and lows personally as well. Do you feel like this is probably the best stage of our lives?
Oh, that's a great question. I love that question. Yesterday I saw Ashley Judd. Do you know her? The actress?
Yes.
The actor. Sorry, I'm the actor. Joy. Okay, boomer. There you go. She's an actor.
Well, at least you corrected yourself. That's what they would say. At least you corrected yourself. Self-aware.
She put something up on Instagram. It's her in a bathing suit in all her full glory. And she is just being herself. And oh God, what was the question? I just
is it the best stage of life?
Yeah, I think basically she's saying I'm postmenopausal and I don't care. And that she's just foregone all of the care of what other people think. And so I'm not sure I'm there yet, by the way. I'm definitely not, I haven't leveled up that much as a human or a woman. But I really appreciated her yesterday. I was like, you're living your best life and you stopped caring. So there is a thing, hopefully at this stage, you start, I'm not sure I always really cared what everybody thought. I care about the impact of what we're doing and that it leads to something good. I really, really care about that. But do I need like personal sort of validation and all that? I don't know. But I'm feeling that I'm going to need a lot less of any of that as I get older. So that's quite fun. Can you just start putting yourself out more? Can you start doing video instead of audio only, Katie? So I think I do like that. At some point, you have to decide, I've been in this skin a long time and I got to be comfortable in it now. If otherwise, so you're a weirdo. You're a grown up now. You've got to be a grown up now. So we're coming into the best years, I think.
I think so. I don't know, it's a woman thing, people pleasing, trying to sort of like, not tread on any toes, water ourselves down so that everybody else feels comfortable. And now I feel like
put makeup on so the kids listen.
Stay slim. I was having a conversation with my brother and his wife, and they're 10 years, well, my brother's 7 years younger than me. My sister-in-law's 10 years younger than me. And I was saying, I'm going on camera now and it's so unfair. I got all the confidence to go on camera, but I noticed my jowls and my face is sagging. And I realized I've got wrinkles when I smile here. And when did that happen? And they were like, just stop.
Yeah.
Just stop. Listen to yourself. And you're repeating women who are older than you, what they've always said, impossible standards, beauty standards, and having to look a certain way. Just stop. And she said, look at all the women that are your age who do just disappear. And think of the people that you might be inspiring by showing up more. And I was like, oh, I didn't really see it that way before. Okay. All right, I'll shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, I think we obsess about this stuff, but I'm pretty sure no one's looking. No one cares.
No one cares.
So
look at you. You look fabulous.
Oh, I don't know about that. I could have probably shown up a bit better.
Oh, come on. Stop it now. You're as bad as me.
I don't care. I think this is a thing. I love this. I'm wearing a sweatshirt that was it's my mom's. My mom gave it to me. She's like, I don't like it. You're going to have it. So I'm wearing a hand-me-down from my 82-year-old mom. And
she sounds
freaking love it. I actually got complimented on it the other day. I was like, this is my mom's. Like, it was a hand-me-down. I feel I love it. She'll listen to this and she'll be so pleased I'm wearing it. She'll be like, what were you doing? She'll say, what were you doing wearing a sweatshirt?
Sorry for swearing, Joy's mom.
Oh no, she'll love that. She'll love it. She's fine with that.
Fab. I feel like the older I get as well, the more I do sort of celebrate the fact that I am a woman. I've given myself permission to lean into that and say, this is my identity. Okay, I'm allowed to do that. That's interesting. And then as part of that, I've looked at all these formidable women like Joanna Lumley, all the amazing women I really admire, actresses, Kate Winslet, Sigourney Weaver, all these amazing, powerful women I grew up with who were very successful, and Lord knows what they had to go through. Dolly Parton.
Oh yeah, I love her. Love her. Totally. Yeah.
And all Amy Poehler, she's got a new podcast, which is just brilliant. So it's an interesting thing to look back and say, okay, so I spent that good portion of my life trying to figure who I was, and I've realized I don't need to figure out who I am, just be. And all the confidence that I lacked is now replaced with a ton of courage, and basically I don't care.
Yeah. A heavy dose of I don't care is good. Yeah.
Oh, I just don't care. It's great. It's liberating.
Yeah, it totally is. It totally is.
I'm looking forward to my period stopping.
Oh, I know. God. Help me figure this one out, though.
Okay.
We have our strategy team, when we rebranded as so we used to be DNCO, as you know. We rebranded to DNCO, which there were lots of reasons to do that. And I honestly, I always wanted that. So I'm super happy with it. As part of that, we did some real messaging propositions for our business, et cetera. And one of the things that the strategy team came out with was female founded. And I immediately was like, no, we're not. I had such a visceral ick to the whole thing.
Yeah.
And they obviously knew it was going to happen. They just looked at me and they're like, it's not for you and it's not your decision, basically. I was like, oh.
Okay.
And what they said was, it's the women who work here and the women who interview to work here, they like it. So if you want to continue to have this great 50-50 gender split, like, you need to be okay with that. And by the way, you probably have lean into it. And so I immediately was like, oh, okay, if it serves a role for us and for other women, fantastic, let's do it. Now, what's happened in the last couple of weeks, we did an RFP. And there's a slide in our decks that the one, you tried to pull 80% of it from existing stuff. There's a slide in there that says, based in London, New York, female founded, blah, 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 et cetera. And we were pitching to an organization that is very male, very, very male. It's sports related. And actually it's run by an American man. And I said to everyone, should we take that out then, everyone? Like this is totally normal. Like, this is a whole blokey thing. Like, let's not have the female founded. It's not relevant or appropriate, right? Yeah. And I think everyone looked at me like horrified that I'm editing this out because I think it doesn't serve us. It actually probably is going to be. So I think I have my own
Was that the okay boomer moment?
Well, no. I mean, I think we left it in. Actually, I think when I looked at what we submitted, it was left in. And I was like, oh, God. Like, I hope they don't. I think I'm being worried about being called woke. You know what I mean? So, and why do I care? Because I am totally woke anyway. So it's just, I think it's so political.
Either side are just pitching against each other. It's awful.
I know. So
you can be woke. It's fine.
Yeah. So I'll let you know. I'll follow up with you to let you know if we won. And if we won, notwithstanding having put a slide in that says female founded, then everything's okay, I think. We'll see.
I love that.
If we lost, let's see what happens.
If you lose, then it's just down to that and that alone. No, it won't be.
I
hope not. God.
No, I hope not. I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing it. So when you look back, it's, 20 years, there's got to be I'm always interested to hear this because I'm obviously running something, and the amount of time and sacrifice, you don't do this unless you love it. But there's always another aspect, another ingredient to the fuel to your flame. I mean, you obviously love what you do, but what keeps you going? What are you striving for? Are you trying to prove yourself? Like maybe I am. Maybe I can't believe I just admitted that on the podcast. Or is it something else?
Well, I have an answer to this, but it's going to get heavy. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So my dad was an alcoholic, and in the 80s, he was tremendously successful. And then he lost his job due to alcoholism, which is a disease. And it was, catastrophic to him. And it was fairly final for his career. I mean, he did continue to work, but his rise as a career guy, it just never really recovered in the late 80s. And I remember the 80s being that time of frothy abundance. And it was amazing to be in California in the 80s. And it created a really shocking, I suppose, change for us as a family. And I think that I don't think I really took it in at the time in this way, but certainly when it came to working and to being independent and then having a family, the number one thing that has always been necessary for me is that sort of resilience of income. So it is really not very sexy to talk about, Katie. You know, it's like this, probably the thing a psychologist would say fuels me is the need to have security. And golly, I don't know what to tell you, but that's like, them's the facts. I'm absolutely certain that when everything is going well, I feel great. And when things are a bit shaky, I know what's bubbling up is this, I don't want to be like my dad was. You know, I don't want to let anyone down. I don't want to ever feel or face a sense of financial insecurity. So I don't have any like great desires to be like spectacularly wealthy and yachts and Ferraris. That doesn't fill my brain dream. Travel, yes, I'd love to do lots of that. Thanks. But what really, like, everything's okay. There's security. That's it. That's the thing. That's the answer.
Security. Yeah, absolutely.
That's the driver.
It's all we want, isn't it?
I think so. It's like the basic Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? You just need a sense of security. So I am personally very, very interested in identity for places and how people relate to those, probably as a like clear factor of never having really belonged very well. So the sense of belonging, I love all that. I've made a whole career out of a sense of belonging and how you develop a sense of belonging for places that people can feel they belong to. So I love that piece. But what's underneath all of that is just like a desperate need to feel financially secure. So yeah, there you go. I don't think I've ever told anyone on a podcast that before, but you asked me. So there you go.
I love it. I love it. It's just very honest and not PR'd at all. It's just very, very heartfelt.
That definitely didn't make it through the PR advice, I think, I'm sure.
No, well, do you know, it makes for a boring podcast when people are media trained.
No, well, there you go. I'm a cowgirl right now. It's just like, whatever. Who cares? Who cares has got to be the theme of this podcast, right? I don't. Who cares?
Absolutely.
We're in our dirty laundry.
Yeah, we're in our best. Oh, actually, the previous guest was Matt Baxter of Baxter and Bailey, and he's doing the design laundry. And he said if anybody's got any stories, then they should go on the designlaundry.com. There you go, Matt. I told you I'd look out for you.
Nice. Oh, I love him.
And maybe you could do that. Yeah.
Okay.
I might share a few of my own stories. You can do it anonymously as well if you want to.
Oh yeah. Is it like bad things? Because I've got really like embarrassing
mistakes.
Things.
Embarrassing mistakes, things like an email that shouldn't have been sent but got sent to the client by mistake.
I've got a great one. I'm going to call him.
Yeah, you should do. You should. He's turning it into something bigger, I think. I mean, he's already done so much with it, which is great.
Cute.
But anyway, so since we're talking about 2 decades of DNCO, if you look back on it all, if you could go back to your 30-year-old self when you started it, as you know, you've sort of joy from the future, what would you say to her?
Well, okay, what would I say to myself? So firstly, don't overreact.
Ooh.
I'm actually naturally fairly hot-blooded, and I think it's taken me a long time. So we've just had this little conference, and it turns out we had 2 cameras. We filmed it all, and it turns out that one of the cameras that filmed directly on, face on, it was completely corrupted. We didn't get a single second of footage on that camera for a whole day, which is a real drag. You know, paid someone professionally for it. They were really great. They've been good to us. But my colleague Jack, he looked at me ashen, and he was so distraught. All this planning, and he's at the beginning of his career, and I just looked at him and said, "Look, the great thing about this is there is literally nothing you can do about it. So your energy, don't waste your energy on that, because it's being spent for no value. You get no return on that energy. So you're just going to have to just go, ugh, that sucked. And the quicker you can close the gap between, there's nothing I can actually do about that, but I can absolutely affect what I do next. And if I kick and scream and if I'm a shit or, if I bark at someone or if I yell at a client, I have to say I've been pretty frustrated with clients in the early years of my career. And that's dumb. Like I look back and I'm like, oh my God, it took you so long to get that relationship back on track because you were like, I want it my way. And I delivered that in a really shitty way. So the first thing I would say is like, just chill out, chick. Like, you don't need to freak out when you don't get your way. I mean, I wasn't like emotional and freaking out. I'm making myself sound like a girl. I sounded like a girl. But I think I would say like, if you don't get your way or if things don't go quite your way, it's like, it's okay. I don't cry anymore at things. Like in my early career, if things didn't go my way, I would cry. We nearly got sued. Well, we did kind of get sued early in my career. I cried for days. And I look back and I'm
God,
like,
I would have been in tears.
Yeah, it was like it's an accident. Like this thing happened. It was bad luck. It was in another country and it really sucked. And I look back and I sort of think we dealt with it in a really wonderful way and it all kind of worked out. But at first it was like, this feels really big. So I think the first thing I'd say is if no one's died, unless someone's died, like then, go all out on your emotions. But unless that, then probably Joy, you're going to be fine. Like just relax for a little and also just go walk around the block for a little bit.
Yeah.
The couple of things I would have invested a little bit better on. One is I probably would have given other people accountability much faster. I think that is so important. Ben and I we made a decision really early on that we would go to all the client meetings and we would protect designers from the scary clients. That was actually what we said to each other. It was a deliberate strategy.
So sweet.
Which is so sweet. And it's also terrible because what you're doing to you're mollycoddling designers and they don't see or hear the crap that some clients sometimes say. And it's not crap. Sometimes it's really very valuable, but it sounds like crap. And you have to go back and say, I don't agree with that, but I really want to do well by my client. And if you're you're trying to be sensitive to the designer's feelings, and it's just, they do not learn. They have to hear it like straight up. This is what the client's saying. So I would have tried to have more accountability for people sooner. I would have delegated more sooner. And that's how people grow is you give them bits of accountability they're probably not even ready for. And then they level up themselves. So that's really good. So I would have taken more people to meetings earlier. I would have delegated more. And then the last thing I probably would have done is actually a really weird one, which is you meet a lot of people in your career. And when you're early in your career, I don't think you fully appreciate how important those connections are. And to keep them and to covet them. So I think we look at projects often as like a transaction. I'm hired, I deliver, job's done. I don't need to talk to that person anymore or ever again. By the way, that is really dumb because what you really want is get a job, do a phenomenal job, make a great friend out of that client, get next job. That's the chessboard. And if you're not playing that chessboard, then you're not going to grow a business very well. But all those connections, I'm still working. In fact, we've got a mega project in Shanghai right now. It's an awesome project. The guy who is our client there was one of my very first clients in my mid-20s. So I've been working with him for 20 years. Wow. Over 20 years, in fact, because he predates DNCO. And we marvel at it's like, hey, we've worked on so many projects over the years together. I know his wife. It's priceless. So yeah, I would say I would go back. There are a lot of people I worked with early in my career who I probably didn't keep and covet as connections and clients, and the connection's probably a little bit severed. If I was like, hey, it's Joy, remember me? I would look really, really uncool. So I think all these, like LinkedIn is, it is what it is, but actually keeping in touch with people and dropping people a note being like, hey, saw this thing you did. It was really cool. Like, it's amazing how much that actually is. It's a huge key to success. So I would have coveted my connections even more.
Well, I think you've done a pretty damn good job for 20 years and to survive and pivot and be where you are now. I mean, Joy,
Thank you.
It's been ace watching your journey unfold. And you'll carry on for a good long time yet, I can imagine.
I think so. And the tiresome thing I think about me, and I know that my colleagues see this, is I kind of always have another thing I want to do.
Yeah.
So I have a few of those still, and my husband and I have got a little thing we want to start, a small software business, and I think that's I'm not ready to retire. I think what we'll see is like I just like to do new things. I'm obsessed with businesses, and I like businesses, getting involved in them, problem solving. So that's where I'm most excited.
We're too young to think about retirement. Come on.
I think actually the idea of it sounds really good. I'm like, oh my goodness, put my feet up, hand me a nice cup of tea, and I've watched the sunset and a Twix bar, every day. But when my husband turned 50, we went on a sabbatical, and a really interesting thing happened on that sabbatical. It was long. I think it was 6 or 8 weeks or somewhere. I've already forgotten. It was a few years ago.
Nice.
6 weeks. And I was, at the end, my brain was really mushy. So I would say 6 weeks. And then if you think about completely retiring, your brain actually, you need to continue to have things that take your brain over. Otherwise, your brain goes soft. I think it's really important. And I think that all the Alzheimer's studies say as much, right? So the Sudoku thing is silly, maybe, but people who do daily Sudoku, maybe less correlation to Alzheimer's. Don't quote me on that. It's a very shady fact. It's definitely not true.
Bringing out the facts again.
I know. Well, shady. In my family, it's called Joy's Shady Book of Facts. So definitely don't quote me on that one. But I think that it's important to keep your brain going. My stepdad is 83, I think. He's 83, and he still works. He's a very desirable court translator, and they would have him every hour of the day if they could. He speaks fluent Spanish and English, and he picks his time, and he's like super switched on. And I think the reason why they're doing so well is because both my stepdad and my mom in their 80s, they're busy, they're doing stuff. So I mean, I'm not even 50 yet. So that we've got too long to let our brains go soft yet.
Yeah, so exactly. And anyway, we're only just getting started, I think.
I think so. Well, the government's going to have us working as long as we can, right? That's the stance. So 20 years of maybe some sort of career or a new career, I think, is really interesting. I'd really like to do NEDs. Do you know non-exec directorships? I think that's...
Yes.
I did this was a bit of joy madness of like, oh, this is the new joy thing. I did the FT's non-exec director diploma.
Amazing.
Which I did, by the way, completely out of a weird ego moment where I applied for a trusteeship of a major cultural organization. I didn't get it. They did actually take me on as a consultant, which was very sweet of them. But I noticed that one of the NEDs is a high-flying WPP woman, and she had this FT NED diploma on her LinkedIn. And so I was like, oh, I better do that. So I paid the money and signed up. I basically didn't look at the curriculum. And it turns out to be a 6-month level 6, basically master's diploma. You don't have a master's at the end of it, but you have a master's level bit of something. And you know what? It was really challenging. It was great. It turned all my little lights on. I loved it. Onboarded a lot of data. Learned a lot about behavioral science, which was something I didn't know I needed at that point in my life, but I did.
Amazing.
And anyway, my point is to say, so if nothing else, I'm really interested in NEDships where you can then sit on other people's businesses and go, oh, you guys have an opportunity here. You should push that direction. You should go there. Like, this is how you solve that, or you're missing these 10 people in that department. So I love getting into the gangrene of problems and also checking out opportunities and trying to help businesses then do that. I think that would be fun. Don't you want to do that? You kind of do that. You kind of do that on this podcast.
Yeah, it's like a counseling session sometimes as well.
I'm sure. Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever stop. I really enjoy what I do. I feel very privileged. And I'm sure you do too. And Joy, sadly, it's time to say goodbye.
Oh, it's been such a pleasure chatting. We'll have to do this over lunch one day as well.
I would love to.
We have more.
We do. We can put the world to rights. Thank you for being on the podcast.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Big thanks to Joy for that masterclass in creative leadership. Say less, think harder, move faster, and protect the work by protecting your pace. You'll find DNCO and Joy in the show notes. Go follow their projects and keep an eye on that Vermont launch. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend, leave a quick rating and tag me so I can say thanks. We'll be back on Thursday with another spark, and Joy will be joining us once again. Until then, I'm off to have a brew, and I will see you very soon. Thanks again to James Cropper for sponsoring this season of the Creative Boom podcast. Remember, its colour source range gives designers direct access to 50 beautiful shades and a choice of textures, all crafted in the Lake District and delivered straight to your door. Explore the collection and bring your next project to life at paperandpackaging.jamescropper.com.